The Napoleonic Wars, a whirlwind of empires clashing where the fate of nations hung by a thread, decided on blood-soaked battlefields. Beneath the roar of cannons and the cries of the fallen, a deadly ballet unfolded. This was a world of close-order combat where victory was won with meticulous planning and disciplined execution of intricate tactical maneuvers. Imagine standing shoulder to shoulder with your comrades, the air thick with smoke and the stench of gunpowder. You trust your training, your comrades, and the strength of your formation. On the battlefield, shrouded in smoke and deafening noise, communication became a matter of life and death. Imagine trying to relay orders to thousands of men while cannons roared and muskets spat fire. With soldiers packed tightly together, orders didn't need to travel far. Drums and bugles, audible even amidst the din of battle, became critical tools for communication. Each beat of the drum, each note of the bugle, conveyed specific instructions, directing the movement and actions of entire battalions. Without them, armies would have been reduced to disorganized mobs, easy prey for the enemy's coordinated maneuvers. The smoothbore musket, the primary firearm of the Napoleonic Wars, was an inaccurate weapon at best. Its effective range barely exceeded 100 yards, and even then, hitting a target was a matter of luck. So how did armies inflict casualties and break enemy lines with such unreliable weapons? The answer lies in the devastating power of massed volley fire. Imagine row upon row of muskets erupting in unison, a wall of lead hurled towards the enemy ranks. While individual muskets lacked accuracy, the sheer volume of fire ensured that a significant portion of the enemy formation would be struck. The psychological impact of volley fire was just as devastating as its physical impact. Close-order formations, while tactically essential, also played a crucial role in the psychological landscape of the Napoleonic battlefield. Imagine yourself a young recruit facing your first battle. Fear grips you, threatening to overwhelm your senses. But as you look around, you see your comrades shoulder to shoulder, a living wall of steel. The close proximity of your comrades, the feeling of belonging to something larger than yourself, instilled a sense of courage and camaraderie. You were not alone in facing the enemy, you were part of a unit, a brotherhood forged in the heat of battle. Section 5. Holding the line, Infantry versus Cavalry. The clash of infantry and cavalry was a defining spectacle of Napoleonic warfare. The thundering charge of mounted horsemen, wielding sabers and lances, posed a terrifying threat to infantry formations. However, the disciplined infantryman, armed with bayonet and musket, was far from helpless. The key to repelling a cavalry charge lay in maintaining a tight, cohesive formation. A wavering line, riddled with gaps, was an invitation for disaster. The infantry's primary weapon against cavalry was the bayonet. A wall of bayonets, presented by a disciplined line of infantry, could stop a cavalry charge in its tracks. Section 6. Teeth of the Leviathan. Anatomy of a battalion. The basic tactical unit of the Napoleonic battlefield was the battalion, a formidable force typically comprising around 500 to 800 men. These battalions were the backbone of the army, providing the essential structure and manpower needed to execute the complex strategies of the time. Organized into companies, each with its specific role, the battalion was a microcosm of the army itself, capable of both independent action and coordinated maneuvers within a larger force. Each company within the battalion had a distinct function, from the grenadiers who led assaults to the voltigeurs who acted as light infantry. At the forefront of the battalion were the skirmishers, lightly equipped and highly mobile troops tasked with harassing the enemy, disrupting their formations, and screening the main body of the battalion. These skirmishers played a crucial role in softening up the enemy before the main engagement, using their agility and marksmanship to create chaos and confusion. The heart of the battalion consisted of the fusiliers, the mainline infantry, armed with smoothbore muskets and bayonets. These soldiers were the core fighting force, trained to hold the line and deliver devastating volleys of musket fire. Their ability to maintain formation and fire in unison was a key factor in the success of Napoleonic tactics. Their discipline and training were crucial to the battalion's effectiveness, allowing them to maintain formation under fire and execute complex maneuvers with precision. The rigorous training regimen included drills, physical conditioning, and the practice of battlefield tactics, ensuring that each soldier could perform their duties under the most stressful conditions. The battalion's cohesion and morale were maintained through a strict hierarchy and a sense of camaraderie among the troops, fostering a spirit of unity and purpose that was essential for success in battle. Leadership within the battalion was also a critical component. Officers were responsible for planning and executing strategies, making quick decisions on the battlefield, and maintaining the morale of their men. Their ability to inspire and lead by example was often the difference between victory and defeat. In the battle, the battalion operated as a cohesive unit, with each company performing its role to achieve the overall objective. The coordination between skirmishers, fusiliers, and other specialized companies allowed the battalion to adapt to changing circumstances and respond effectively to enemy actions. This flexibility and resilience were hallmarks of Napoleonic warfare, making the battalion a formidable force on the battlefield. The success of a battalion was not just measured by its ability to win battles, but also by its capacity to endure the hardships of war. The camaraderie and shared experiences of the soldiers forged bonds that were as strong as any weapon, enabling them to face the challenges of the battlefield with courage and determination. Section 7. The Dance of Death, Formations and Their Uses. On the Napoleonic battlefield, formations were more than just arrangements of men. They were dynamic tools of war, each with its own strengths and weaknesses, employed to counter specific threats and exploit fleeting opportunities. The line formation, the most iconic of the era, maximized firepower by deploying soldiers shoulder to shoulder, allowing for a devastating volume of fire. This formation excelled at delivering massed volleys and holding ground against infantry assaults. However, its vulnerability to flanking maneuvers and cavalry charges necessitated careful positioning and support from other units. The column formation, on the other hand, sacrificed firepower for mobility. Section 8. The Emperor's Chessboard, Column of Divisions and the Infantry Square. Napoleon's genius lay not just in his understanding of individual formations, but in his ability to combine them into a fluid and adaptable system of warfare. One of his most famous tactical innovations was the column of divisions, a formation that combined the mobility of the column with the firepower of the line. Imagine a series of battalion columns, each one a battering ram advancing towards the enemy lines. As they approached, the lead battalions would deploy into line formation, unleashing a devastating volley before giving way to the next column, which would repeat the maneuver. This continuous assault, wave after wave of disciplined infantry, could overwhelm even the most stubborn defenses. Section 9. Beyond Courage, Beyond Steel. The Triumph of Training. The Napoleonic Wars were a brutal and unforgiving proving ground for armies and tactics alike. Amidst the carnage and chaos, one factor stood out as the ultimate determinant of victory: the training and discipline of the infantry. No matter how brilliant the strategy, how advanced the weaponry, it all came down to the men on the ground, their ability to follow orders, maintain formation under fire, and execute complex maneuvers with precision. The difference between a victorious army and a routed mob often lay in the quality of their training. The armies that dominated the battlefields of Europe were those that invested heavily in drilling their troops to a razor-sharp edge.